Well, so ready, this is Kieran Reese, so I known as the Accessible Gamer, the O.C.G, and hopefully I'm live with Tormented Souls 2. I kind of was done with the Resident Evil games until RE9. But I wanted to still play something adjacent, and this, I think, is the best way. God Nevin, but which of course mean God Nevin, only God Nevin, please. Oh man, he's already being a bitch. God Nevin, by which I mean God Nevin and only God Nevin. Code of Sling for anyone else. Just God Nevin Jesus, please move forward for one. Please remove me from the deals. Over this drink and any other drink. Please induce some deals and see drink any of before you dinner. And 2 please before I can for now. Hey, it's gone. Say hi, Echo. I really like this game.
Anna? Anna?
I think you might like it as well, Alex.
Are you okay?
We'll see.
What are you drawing?
I don't know. They just popped in my head. What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing's wrong. Or nothing that a stay at a fancy wellness retreat won't fix. Am I right?
This was made by a team of a small team of Spanish developers from Spain with a small budget. But it was made to be in homage to the classic Resident Evil games, but modern. And I think they did a fucking phenomenal job of making it a homage to the early Resident Evil games while still doing their own thing. It's not just feeling like a ripoff.
Hello. My name is Sister Angelica. Are you Caroline?
Yes. Caroline Walker.
Ah, then this little one must be your sister. Hello, Anna.
Say hello, Anna. Sorry, it takes her a little while to get to know people.
No need to be shy. I don't bite. Come, follow me. I'm here to take you both to the convent. And the crucifix here was carved by a single piece of marble by a local sculptor. Can I just say how very happy I am to finally have you with us? Isabella has told us all about you. Especially you, little one. You are a very special girl.
Anna's been through a lot. It takes her a while to let her guard down with people.
Do not worry. You've come to the right place. We can help her with that. Soon, she will fear nothing. Let's get going. The convent isn't too far now. You can put your luggage in here. You must have had a tiring journey. Why don't you get some rest before dinner?
No, I feel fine. How about you, Anna? Okay. Maybe we could do with a nap.
I'll come back in a few hours and take you to meet the other new arrivals.
And
on,
what
sleepyhead.
they accomplished with this game on a minuscule budget with a small team is super impressive.
Lay down here. I'll wake you before dinner time.
This place smells old. You said it was gonna be a bougie little health spa. When can we go back to Canada?
Come on.
Never. We're never going back to Canada. Canada sucks.
It'll fly by.
You may hate me, but it's Trudeau.
Hey. You want to feel better, right? Isabella says the therapists here are second to none. And we trust her, don't we?
I suppose.
Yes, we do. Now come snuggle up here. It's making me feel sleepy just watching you.
Fine.
Well, assuming that's not code for something, that is French Canada, so maybe you're misjudging them. I don't really have a problem with the Canadian country, or the Canadian people. It's just Canadian government, I think, is shitty.
Anna! Anna! Where are you? Anna!
But, like I said, it's the government that I have problems with Canada. I mean, they're not the worst government in the world. I just get kind of pissy with them because they like to shit on other countries and try to take the moral high ground, even though they do a lot of the stuff that they're accusing other countries of doing, and that kind of gets on my nerves. Just like Trudeau has often commented about America and be like, well, you guys have a history of racism, okay? You do too. Canadians had slaves black slaves for like 150 years, dog. Or, well, you're racist to the indigenous people, okay? You are too. It became a scandal a couple years back, Alex. I don't know if you saw it or if you remember, where they kept finding indigenous child burial grounds in Canada. Like that's their natives, basically. Where they just would like mass kill them. And they were finding them as recent as the 90s. Okay, like, yeah, America, it took a while to free black people, but man, we weren't dumping black kids in mass graves in the 90s, so you know, maybe stop throwing rocks if you live in a glass house. That's what I'm saying. Like, not to mention the fact that I'm not going to sit there and be morally postured to by a guy caught in blackface. Trudeau literally did blackface in college. So I was like, oh yeah, you're talking about black people and racism and sensitivity. Maybe don't do blackface, because he was a teenager or in college in the 90s. Blackface was not acceptable in the 90s. That wasn't like, well, he's an old timer, you know. That was the 90s, by the way, Alex, okay? So, some other government officials are like, well, it was a different time, because they'll show, like, pictures of the 50s, 60s, okay? By the 90s, it was well and truly culturally unacceptable to do blackface, and everybody knew better, so he doesn't have that excuse, it was a different time. So I'm not going to sit there and get lectured about racism by a guy who thought blackface was funny, whose country does the same shit. That's what pisses me off. And then they've gotten increasingly fascist. Like, there was a bunch of people having a protest a while back because they were doing the harsh trucker laws. I think they called it the Freedom Line or what the fuck ever, if you remember, 4 or 5 years ago. And Canada actually didn't just try to get them out of the protest, didn't just try to move them out of line, they drained their bank accounts. Imagine if the U.S. government saw a bunch of people protesting and drained all of their money. So, you know, that is straight up fascism. Oh, you're doing something we don't like? Well, we're going to seize all your assets. So I just kind of view the government as hypocrites, but I don't hate the country or the people. I've met a lot of Canadian people. Sammy was Canadian. You know, but then again, Justin Bieber comes from Canada, so, you know, maybe I do hate them. I'm just kidding. 1 second, I gotta let the cat out now. She's going it in, now it's what's out. So, also because of fucking Canadian bacon. Canadian bacon is not proper bacon, okay? It's just fucking ham. And I know they're like, well, it's both pigs. It's not the same. Have you ever tried a piece of Canadian bacon, Alex? It's a fucking lie. You bite into it thinking you're gonna get bacon. You're not getting bacon. The first time I had that shit, I lost a little bit of my faith in the world, Alex. You don't fuck with man's bacon. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like I said, it was made by a bunch of Spanish developers on a small budget who liked Resident Evil. The first game was intended to be a smartphone game, and they managed to bring it to consoles, and it was an unexpected hit. I mean, not like, oh my god, you know, take the world by storm, but it made a lot more money than the developers thought it was going to make, so they were able to have a much higher budget for this. Still indie. You can clearly tell this is not like, oh my god, AAA, but they went from like shoestring budget to a decent budget. And I think this is phenomenal. I really like this game. This is made by like literally 10 people on an incredibly tight budget. And I think what they accomplished on such a small budget is awesome. Like I said, it feels like RE, classic RE, but it doesn't feel like they're just mimicking it.
Be at peace, both of you. This is a holy place. There must be no violence here.
What are you talking about? We were invited here as guests of Mother Lucia, okay? I don't think she's gonna be too pleased when she finds out how you treated us.
Child, I am Mother Lucia. Now stop struggling, please. You have nothing to fear. We wish only to guide you to your destiny.
Look, I don't know who you think we are, but you're making a mistake.
Oh, we know exactly who you are.
8. It's 8 slots for in RE0.
And Anna,
I think.
the Wildberger twins. And we've been preparing for your arrival here for many years.
Caroline, I'm scared. What's she saying?
Nothing. We're getting out of here.
But you can't leave. Your grandfather Noah swore a covenant.
You have 2 characters in 0, so you technically have 12 slots.
Please.
And that's RE0's shtick. Is that you have 2 characters you control at the same time you swap between. That's why if there's only 6 slots and R0, that's why. Okay. Well, it's still not just 6. It's, you know what I mean? It's 12 overall. That's what I'm saying. You have 2 characters the whole game, but yeah. Zero also is kind of shitty. I will say one thing that's shitty about RE0 is that most of the games, every weapon takes up 1 slot. Even a big weapon like a shotgun. In RE0, shotguns take up 2 slots. Ugh. That's pure nightmare fuel. Yeah, dude, I'm not...
What the hell did they do to me?
I'm not a huge fan of RE0.
Anna? Where are you? Anna? Can you hear me? Anna!
Especially because it came out... I'm pretty sure it came out after RE1 Remake. They both came out in the same year. They both came out in the same year. 2002 on GameCube. I'm pretty sure RE1 Remake came out first. Yeah, the art style of Remake, or RE0 is great, dude. I don't dislike it or anything. I'm just saying... Okay, so giving you the rundown real quick. Why RE0 is not my favorite. Number 1. Rebecca. I hate Rebecca. She's my least favorite Resident Evil character. Billy basically carries that whole game story on his fucking back. And I've always disliked Rebecca, but at least in RE1, you didn't have to play as her for most of the game. Or a good chunk of the game. Number 2. They tried to do something new, where instead of having an item crate, Alex, instead of having a crate you come back to, you could just drop items anywhere, but then you have to go get them anywhere. I fucking hate that system. And it results in you having to make pointless backtracking in a game already filled with backtracking. I fucking hate it. Never mind that it's finicky where you can and can't leave objects. Number 3. It's very hard. It's one of the hardest games in the series. Not quite Code Veronica levels of ass raping, but it's still one of the harder games in the series. And Rebecca can only take like 2 hits, because of course she can. So anytime the game forces you to play as Rebecca, it's like a fucking handicap. And then, they fucking, each character has, a special ability, but Rebecca's special ability is the ability to mix herbs. You know, what literally every other character in the series could do? So instead of giving Rebecca a special ability that only she has that feels like a special ability, instead it feels like Rebecca is a normal RE character and Billy can't mix herbs and feels like lesser than a regular character. So I appreciate what they were trying to do, giving each character a unique ability. That was the wrong way to do it. And only being able to mix herbs with her fucking blows. And then, they were trying to harken back to the first game with the training facility. It's like a mansion almost. But at a certain point, it's like, this is kind of like the mansion already. We already played RE1. So, and then, like I said, RE0 came out after RE1 Remake. And RE1 Remake set the bar pretty fucking high. Like I told you, it's my favorite of the classic games. And most people will agree that RE1 Remake is hands down one of the best. So, Zero had the unfortunate thing of following shortly after that and just not being as good in comparison. But RE0 has a lot of good stuff going for it. Yeah. It came out only a few months after. So people had it fresh in their minds, and it felt like a disappointment next to that. And it's not that Zero's bad, it's just the RE1 remake was fucking great. You know what I mean? That's what happens. When you release a good game next to a great game, it makes the good game seem bad. But either way, so RE0 has a lot of good stuff going for it. You're right, it does have incredibly high pre-rendered art. I might even say that the art in some places is even higher quality than the RE1 remake. Like the train that you start the game on, they had some really phenomenal art and tricks to make it seem like you're on a moving train even though it's static art. And there are parts of the art that are just phenomenal. Even to this day, like there's a church that you go to, and it's all stormy outside. I remember stepping out and looking into that church. It does. But if you want to get the platinum, you're going to have to invest, do multiple playthroughs that are brutally difficult, so be ready for that one. But you will get a fair amount of trophies just playing through the game. But yeah, so Zero has a lot of good stuff going for it. Like I said, the environments, very high quality. Some of the highest pre-rendered backgrounds I've ever seen. There are some really cool environments in it. Like I said, the train, the church, shit like that. You get an extensive amount of background on Umbrella. More than any other game in the series, you learn what started Umbrella, how Wesker got his start, and if you're a fan of the series and you're a fan of the lore, getting to find out how Umbrella came to be, how Wesker got his job, where Wesker comes from, is a big deal. And then also Billy. Billy's a fucking G. He's like the quintessential 90s fucking badass cool dude, and he single-handedly carries that game's story on its back. So, I don't dislike Zero. It's just not my favorite. I would put it like a B tier. Yeah. Got you more interested in the art or the game? Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you. And I have a spot. Yeah. I can also give you a link to them. Well, yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's. Yeah, it's not lazy, it's just a different way of doing it. They're basically crafting every single scene by hand with incredibly high rendered art. And it basically came about because when the first PS1 came to be, they were incredibly limited with what they could do graphically, because the PS1 could do 3D barely. They're so limited, and most of the shapes are incredibly blocky and stuff, and there wasn't a high amount of detail, so they were able to use the pre-rendered art to get around that and have environments that were much more detailed than what PS1 could do. That's why, like, Resident Evil was one of the games that started RE7, not RE7, what am I saying? FF7, because they were able to do much, much more detailed backgrounds than the PS1 could natively do with that art. So at the time, it was trying to work around it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like shit on a modern TV, but yeah. I've seen RE7, not RE7, why am I saying RE7? I've seen FF7 on a CRT. It looks great. And that's one of the main mods that I have, by the way. They have a mod for FF7, a couple that AI upscale the backgrounds real tastefully. Like, it's not just like slop. They had somebody, but and this was before AI upscaling became a thing. You know, like AI, this was before AI became AI. But they went through and they did it so that now the backgrounds look good. And it's just, it doesn't change anything. It just makes the backgrounds match your resolution on your monitor and fill the whole screen. And you would be amazed just the change that makes. And since somebody went in there by hand and tweaked it, it doesn't look like just AI slop. And like I said, nowadays, if you play FF7, the original 7, on a modern TV screen, everything looks incredibly blurry and stretched out because it just wasn't made for that thing. That's the problem with pre-rendered art, Alex. It can't be really upscaled, traditionally. You know what I mean? The art was made at a certain resolution. The only way to redo the art at that resolution is to redo the art entirely. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, you have a character model in PS1, you can make it high resolution just by upping the res. That art is going to stay the art the resolution that was made. So for a long time, it seemed like those AI games were going to look like, or not AI, those pre-rendered background games were going to look like shit on modern TVs. And then AI upscaling became a thing, and it's amazing. Like I said, it doesn't change anything about the visuals. I tell you what, though, Alex, a good feature. Next time you're playing Resident Evil 1 on PS1, if you ever play that, or 7, there's a feature on the PS on a lot of the PS1 games to play them in native resolution, and it's hilarious because it puts it in it's like a tiny square in the middle of your screen, but for pre-rendered games, it lets you see how they looked on the native screen and the native resolution. Like, oh wow, this did look really crisp. It's only like one block in the middle of the screen, yeah. So it's a good way to see how when you played it on the. It's one of those things where if you played it on the TV that it was designed for, it looks good. Yeah, every PS1 emulated game on the system has that. If you go under the aspect ratio, I think it's pixel perfect, and it plays them at the exact resolution that PS1 games did natively. And so, like, I wouldn't play it like that, but when you do that, you can literally see how it would have looked on the native resolution, and it looks sharp. Yeah. Yeah, and see, I joked that in Resident Evil, it always pissed me off that you couldn't use your thumbs. You were there when I made that joke. In Tormented Souls, you still have to push and pull stuff, but you can actually grab it and move it backwards. I said, oh my god, a character who can use their thumbs? Holy shit! Opposable thumbs? 10 out of 10, game of the year. Yeah, I do. First save room, baby! Yeah, well, that's fair, man. You can usually get it for real cheap. First heal, because you start off half dead after pulling all those needles out of you. Instead of a typewriter, you have an old recording tape, which is nifty in its own way. And there's still often good narration about the game.
A tape recorder. I've used one of these before. I'm gonna record my progress on this machine. And maybe someday, someone will hear this and find out what happened to me. My name is Caroline Walker. I came to this town to find help for my little sister, Anna. She does this thing where she draws terrifying images and somehow they become real. It was all a trap.
That sucks, man.
A huge nun knocked me out and now they've taken Anna. I woke up looking like a pincushion, stuck with these thick needles. These people are sick. I need to find my sister and get away from here fast. I'm heading to the Lady Chapel, the last place I saw Anna. Maybe I'll find some clue there.
This game also has an interesting twist where you can't be in the shadow. If you go into dark areas and you don't have the light, you die. Well, it's because she's actually hunted by, like, a dark creature. She's cursed. And they tell you to stay out of the dark. They give you, like, a plaque at the very beginning and be like, no, you know, don't do it. So you have a lighter. So that's something that was never in REU games, where you actually have to manage a light source. And that's where I think this game is great, because it's not just copying Resident Evil, it's doing its own thing. And what I was saying earlier, the first game was good, but it was really rough around the edges, because it had almost a shoestring budget, and it was made by like 2 people. And there were areas you could tell they were really operating on a low fucking budget. They had no game experience, it was just a bunch of Spanish dudes saying, hey, we like Resident Evil, we want to make our own spin on it. And it was good, but it was really rough around the edges. And, like, for example, one of it was the weapon switching. Just like classic RE games, you have a menu and you can swap weapons. But in the game, you need your lighter to, you know, keep you alive in the dark. And that was one of the things, you could light lamps, so it made it light dark. But that meant that every time you wanted to swap to your lighter, you had to open the menu, unequip, open the menu, equip, and then you wanted to switch to your weapon, equip, and it got fucking annoying. So they came up with a brilliant solution for Tormented Souls 2, where, because the camera angles are fixed, you instead put 4 shortcuts on the right stick. So then, instead of having to open the menu, you can just set the lighter and flick it, and then have a weapon on another thing. Flick, flick, flick. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of smart changes like that. And it takes something that used to be fucking annoying and makes it good. And I genuinely hope that these people keep making games. Because this is still done like this game is still done by like 10 people, Alex. On a very small budget. And what they've accomplished here, on a small budget, really impressive. Like, this game's art direction is beautiful. Yes, he murdered another nun. And like I said, they managed to make something that's an homage to the classic RE games while still feeling fresh. Like, you can clearly tell this was inspired by Resident Evil. And they don't make any, they don't try to hide it. But it doesn't feel like it's ripping Resident Evil off. You know what I mean? With the light, the Spanish nun kind of cathedral vibe. It doesn't just feel like they're just, like, imitating them and trying to rip them off. Like, they're inspired, but they're still doing their own thing. This is how you should do projects that are inspired. You still gotta add your own seasoning to the pot. In the map. See, I can't even get back to her. She can't even get back to her sister now because there's this freaky deaky door. And this also takes inspiration from Silent Hill as well. You go between two different realities. And what feels like a deliberate reference to the other world in Silent Hill. So it's got a bunch of influences thrown in there. Once again, they do it in its own way. It's not like a ripping off Silent Hill. And when you consider the fact that this game was made on a small budget, by like 10 people, and the game is only $30, by the way. Always. Forever. That is the maximum price for this game is $30. I think for $30, this is great. Wait. You can unlock a new costume in here. It does nothing, but it's cool. I actually like it better. He's got a dark trench coat, military boots, cool gothic necklace. I think one of these days you should get around to playing Dead Space, Alex. I think you'd like it a lot. Just play the original first, then the remake. The remake changes a lot for the better. I would say, hands down, the remake is better than the original in every way. Like, it's not even a contest, but you need to play the first game. Like, they added so much. They overhauled the graphics to modern standards, of course. They added a bunch of new weapons that weren't in the original game. They made Isaac talk. In the original game, he's silent, he's mute. And then in Dead Space 2 and 3, he talks. And I thought that was an improvement, actually, because without getting into plot spoilers, he should talk. And so they actually went and hired the same actor who played him in Dead Space 2 and 3, so it doesn't feel out of place. And they smartly rewrote the script to incorporate him into it without making him talk too much. The original Dead Space was like the original Dead Space was linear, completely linear. Once you leave a chapter, you never go back. In the remake, it has all the same areas, but you can now return and backtrack, and there's new areas. So it's more Resident Evil in that respect. So it's not forced, but I actually like it because you can like, oh hey, I can return to this level from earlier with a new key to get a new weapon. Like so, none of it's forced, but like there's actual like side stuff to do now instead of just like a corridor in the original game. And then they added a bunch of new side quests. And in particular, there's one quest in the game that changes the entire story. It's one of the best side quests you'll ever see. Yeah, well, it's Callisto Protocol, but yeah. Callisto Protocol has some really cool weapons. They're all 3D printed, and they all have like a police riot guard aesthetic. Well, I mean, you're not half wrong. It was a weird situation we wound up in, Alex, because Callisto Protocol was made by the guy who did the original Dead Space, as meaning for it to be a modern successor to Dead Space. From him, the guy who did it originally. So it has a lot of similarities. It was literally meant to be the modern successor by the same dude. But at the time, when they started working on Callisto Protocol, it was in development for many years. There had been no Dead Space game in ages. And then it just so happened, that EA decided to remake Dead Space after all. And then they wound up coming out a month apart from each other. Callisto Protocol came out in December of 2022. And Dead Space Remake came out in January. So it's just funny because when they originally made Callisto Protocol, it was like, well, we're not getting any more Dead Space games, so let's give people Dead Space game. But then it wound up launching right next to the actual Dead Space game. See, I'm sorry, I think that's funny, man. Like, you can't write that shit. You can't make that shit up. And you know, like, you have to imagine when they announced the Dead Space remake for January of 2023, the creator of Dead Space must have been like, you fucking gotta be kidding me. Because imagine literally, he left EA because they wouldn't let him do another Dead Space. He left EA because they wouldn't let him do another Dead Space. So then he gets the team together. He's like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna do my own Dead Space. And then as he's fucking finishing touches, oh, hey, we're doing another Dead Space. You motherfuckers! But it resulted in 2 good games coming out back to back. Callisto Protocol got a lot of hate. Don't listen to the haters, Alex. It's a great game. And I think you would like it a lot too. It's incredibly graphically pretty. The combat is visceral and responsive. It has a really, really cool melee combat. Like, it's got guns, but you also do a shit ton of melee, and it has some of the most brutal melee kills you will ever fucking see. And it has a really cool setting. It's a prison on the moon of Jupiter, Calypso. And it has Sam Witwer is the main villain. And you love Sam Witwer. Josh Duhamel, another actor I really like from Transformers, the main army guy from Transformers. He's in it. So, it's got a lot of Hollywood voice acting. And seeing fucking Josh Duhamel and Sam Witwerth going at it, super cool. It's one of the prettiest games you'll ever see. To this day. I don't know what they were cooking with, but fuck, it looks good. And it's really cool because your weapons are all 3D printed, so you actually see them being assembled and shit. It's short. It's not that long. There's replayability. There's cool DLCs and stuff like that, but it's only going to take you about 6 hours to beat it. Which, in all fairness, the first Dead Space was not that long either. If you just play the main story and Dead Space and you're not, like, you know what you're doing, it is very short. But they don't pad it. They don't waste any time. You know what I mean? Something cool is constantly going on. I got it at launch, and it sold poorly. They wound up shutting down the studio. Of course they did. And I don't think we'll ever get a sequel. But I really like the Callisto Protocol. I always have. It's just a really awesome sci-fi horror game. But yeah, and it wound up being really cool because we basically got two good games. Two good Dead Space-like games in a 1 month period. Callisto Protocol was great to me, and Dead Space Remake was great. It actually exceeded my expectations. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. And they sadly, both of them didn't do well financially. That's why we haven't gotten a Dead Space 2 remake, because apparently it undersold compared to EA's projections. Although I will say that just because it undersold compared to EA's projections doesn't necessarily mean that it sold poorly. Their expectations are often way too fucking high. Like, they thought that Dead Space 2, the original Dead Space 2, was a financial disappointment when it sold over 5 million copies at launch. How do you look at 5 million copies being sold for a horror game and then say that that's a disappointment financially? So, them saying it was a financial disappointment doesn't really mean as much, but it sucks because basically they both have followed the same suit. They both came out around the same time, and they were both meant to be the start. It's weird how they paralleled each other. They were both intending to give a modern Dead Space experience. Obviously, Callisto Protocol was supposed to be a successor. Dead Space was supposed to get newcomers into the series. They both came out around the same time, and they both failed financially, in the sense that they wouldn't get a sequel. So it's weird how they are linked like that. Strange. And how that shit happens when life is weird like that. But yeah. Because the Dead Space remake is not just a graphical remake. It modernizes all the gameplay. The movement, it just depends. If you do it right, there's a market, dude. Because Resident Evil is fucking crushing it. You know what I mean? All of the modern Resident Evil games have sold 10 million apiece. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Actually, I'm curious. They keep updating the sales. Some of these Resident Evil games have done shockingly well. Like, that would make any AAA publisher envious. Because they keep selling, by the way. So the series has sold over 183 million copies, all the games in Resident Evil together. That's ridiculous. And then Capcom has a list of their best-selling games. They're called Platinum titles. And they updated it, and they show the Resident Evil numbers. Resident Evil 2 Remake, 16.8 million copies. Damn near 17 million copies sold on the RE2 Remake. Resident Evil 7, 16 million and 4. Resident Evil Village, 13.5, which, bear in mind, it not selling as much as 7 makes sense because it came out 5 years later. It came out in 2021. So it hasn't had the time. RE4 Remake came out 3 years ago. 12 million copies sold. Hey, Devil May Cry 5, 11 million copies. That's not even Resident Evil, but still, that's really good. That's actually the best-selling DMC game by far. I just want a DMC 6. Just give us a DMC 6. Resident Evil 3 Remake, 10 million copies. And then Silent Hill F, Alex. Silent Hill F sold 1 million copies in 2 days. And they said it was the highest, fastest selling Silent Hill game. Obviously not like total copies overall. It hasn't been out long enough. But it was the quickest title to break that. So, if you do good horror, you have a good audience. The Amnesia games have also sold really well. It's just, you gotta stand above. There's so many, like, shitty horror games, Alex, out there that you really, really need to deliver this goods. Otherwise, you just fall down to the fucking thing. And that's another thing I like about Tormented Souls, Alex. All the weapons are unique, they're improvised. You know how, like, you get regular guns? All of the equipment, all the equipment in this game, is, improvised weaponry, which I really like. Like, the default handgun, the pistol is a nail gun. I dig shit like that. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. The horror community is hungry. You just need to stand above the mess. Nobody's gonna, play your game if it's just slop. You have to prove that you got this. But I'm saying if you do it right, the sales, and I'll kiss your ass. I'll kiss your ass, Alex, if RE9 doesn't do well financially. Okay? They already have 3 million wish lists on Steam. Those numbers are fucking crazy. Just for Steam? Dude, AAA fucking games like Call of Duty don't get 3 million wish lists. That's bonkers. I mean, that doesn't sound a lot, but when you realize that's Steam alone, that's crazy. No, I wouldn't be surprised either. And on top of which, Alex, the RE games keep selling. They are notorious for selling over long term. A lot of horror games, and well, let's be frank, a lot of games in general, they sell a lot in the launch, and then that's it. You get most of your sales in the first 6 months. That's how most games do. If you have a game that keeps selling, you're lucky. Right? If you have a game that keeps selling, you're lucky in any genre. Most of the time you have that launch window and then it's done, which is fine. The Resident Evil games sell and sell and sell. Okay? For example, because RE7 came after 6 and people were really wary, it only sold 1 million copies its first year. Now, Capcom was still happy with 7 because the goal was to... Capcom was still happy with 7 because the goal wasn't to get sales necessarily, it was to restore faith in the brand. They literally said, us getting the fans back on our side is more important. Because they said, if we get the fans back on our side, the sales will come. They were smart. So, like, RE6 sold like 6 million copies at launch. So, any other developer would have looked at 7 only selling 1 million at launch and thought, oh, this is terrible. But they knew it's because they burnt bridges with 6. But now, RE7 is up to 16 million copies sold. The game came out fucking 9 years ago, Alex. That literally means that like 90% of the game's sales have been in the intervening years. So, like, it literally sold more in year 5 than it did in year 1. And kept selling. 2 years ago, it was like at 10 million copies sold, Alex. So they've already sold another 6 million copies of RE7 in the last 2 years. Like they had, like the residual sales of Resident Evil would put most new game releases to shame. That's what I'm saying. So not only do RE games sell well, they sell well consistently over time. I guarantee you, 4 years from now, RE9 will still be selling well. So like they're a consistent revenue stream. But yeah, dude, I have a good feeling about RE9, which, oh, by the way, we're only 1 week away now. 7 days! That's the only thing I'm excited for right now. Still dealing with this fucking abscess. At least not giving me pain. I've had a lot of abscesses that gave me severe pain. I don't know why this one is possibly the biggest abscess I've ever had, and it's not giving me any pain. Which, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm glad it's not, but it's bothering me because I had it for like a week now and it won't pop. Normally it pops. I guess it's just this gum right here is particularly strong. So if I can't get it to pop soon, I'm just going to have to sanitize the knife and poke a hole in it. I have rubbing alcohol, literally what they use to prep wounds. And I typically use it for cleaning my phones and my computers. If you ever need something to clean your electronic outlets, rubbing alcohol is the way. You get 50 to 75% rubbing alcohol. It cleans them, sterilizes them, and it doesn't leave a residue. That's why. It evaporates. So, like, that's the best thing you could clean your controllers, your phone, your laptop screen, your Steam Deck screen with is rubbing alcohol. You can get a bottle of rubbing alcohol like this big, super cheap, lasts you for months. And any other thing, like I've tried electronic cleaners. 99 per max, yeah, okay. Well, see, I don't do max. I guess something to do with materials, but yeah. Like I said, so I just I pretty much at all times have a bottle of rubbing alcohol. But what it's for is for preparing wounds. So if I need to pop this, like say it won't pop on its own, usually an abscess will pop on its own. It'll just stretch the gum out. I'll take a knife. My dad has a little pocket knife, and I'll sanitize it first, and then just a tiny hole. I'm not going to rip it open and drain it. Because normally it would have popped by now. It's kind of bothering me that it hasn't. And once I get it popped, I can rest easy a little bit. I mean, it's not like the tooth is fine. The tooth is fucked. If you have an abscess, the tooth is fucked. But when you pop an abscess, if you're careful with it, the immediate danger is past. You move the infection out. Obviously, the tooth still has problems. Obviously, you're probably going to have abscesses in the future, but it means the immediate danger is past and you can breathe easy, if that makes sense. I'll knock on wood because I'm superstitious about that shit. Yeah. So I just want to get it over with and get it drained so I don't have to worry about it. Every day I wake up and I'm just, like, freaked out about it. Because, like I said... Yeah, hold on a second. Like I said, dude... Well, to tell you the truth, Alex, my teeth are shit. They're really bad. You don't often see my teeth, because I'm in a stream. My teeth are not good. It's probably the thing I'm the most ashamed of. I didn't treat my teeth well as a kid, and I'm paying for it now. And it got worse and worse and worse, because it's really hard to find a dentist that takes my insurance. The only dentists in town that would take my insurance are booked from here to infinity, because everybody on WellCare is trying to get them. So, you'd think I could call and be like, okay, put me on the list. And whenever you get a spot, okay, no. They don't even do that. They're so booked, they don't even take, like, reservations. They just say, hey, call back in 6 months and hope and pray that we have a spot open. So, I've been trying to get my teeth fixed from a dentist for fucking years. And the whole time, obviously, they're getting worse. Because once the tooth is fucked, until it gets, like, fixed, it's fucked. So, my teeth are not good. They're really not good. I have a ton of cavities, a ton of plaque, ton of staining. I have cracks in my teeth from where I've chipped them. This tooth that has an abscess right now. Yeah, same. My dad didn't treat his teeth well. And let me tell you, Alex, there is no pain in this world, in my opinion, that's worse than a toothache. I hope that you never have to go through a massive toothache. I'm not saying like an ordinary toothache. you can have their degrees to it. I'm talking about like a tooth is fucked. The root is fucked. Toothache. Made me want to fucking die. I have had a lot of pain in my life. I've been stabbed. I've broken my bones. I've ripped open my lip. I've fallen down a set of stairs. I've had the shit beat out of me. I popped a blood vessel in my eye. No shit, by the way. I've had a lot of pain in my life. Like, I have not had an easy life. And out of all of that pain, literally over being stabbed, I would rather be stabbed than have a fucking toothache. Like a root toothache. It made me want to curl into a ball and fucking die. Yeah. Like, literally, it felt like, Alex, somebody was taking a hot poker, like you'd brand somebody with, and shoving it into my face right here and twisting it. And the pain was spreading into my face and in my eye, and literally hot, like lava in my face. For weeks. For fucking weeks. Like I said, I would not wish that pain on my worst fucking enemy, man. Okay, literally, like imagine, like, because it's the nerve. And your teeth nerves are literally the most sensitive nerves in your body, Alex. That's why tooth pain is so bad. Because you have to feel what you're eating. So especially if you get, like, the upper teeth that are meant to, like, taste your food and feel hot and cold, they're incredibly sensitive. So when those nerves get fucked up, the nerve's going fucking crazy. And if it's a top tooth, it's fucking with your sinuses. So it's not just a tooth. It literally, you feel it in your face, in your head, in your neck. And it's not even like a dull pain. It's like hot pain. Like I said, I would rather somebody punch me in the face repeatedly than deal with that toothache. So yeah, if you could take care of your teeth, do it. For me, I fucked up my teeth when I was a kid. I was 15, 16. I wasn't brushing them like I should have been. I was drinking sugary shit and not brushing them. Sugary shit's bad, but you can get away with eating sugar if you brush your teeth. It was the sugar and not brushing that fucked me. And then by the time I got my shit together and started trying to take care of my teeth, well, they were fucked, and it was really hard to get a dentist. With my insurance. I've been trying for years. And the sad thing about it, Alex, is I could go to the doctor right now. Like, some people have seen my abscess, and they're like, why don't you go to the hospital? I've tried. I've literally tried. I went to the hospital, Alex, a few years back, okay? For an abscess much worse than this one. This one is huge in my mouth, but my face is fine. The last abscess I had, the one I told you about with the dog, my face swelled up. My whole face, the whole right side of my face was twice the size it should have been. Like, from here to here. Huge. Okay, that's how bad it was. I went to the hospital for that. And they basically told me, here, take some antibiotics that I couldn't afford, couldn't get a ride to. They didn't give me any painkillers. They didn't help me out. They didn't pop the abscess. You know, like, some people think, well, they can drain it. Nope, they won't. And they sent me home and then billed me for nothing. And even if I was to take those antibiotics, Alex, lessen the risk of infection spreading or something like that, they don't get rid of the abscess. Once you get an abscess, the only way to get rid of it, even with the antibiotics, is to pop that fucker. Okay? So basically, even taking the antibiotics, it's still not dealing with the present shit. And they were charging me prices I couldn't afford. So it's not like I'm just sitting here like people think, like, why wouldn't you go to the hospital? Just, they wouldn't help me. They would give me some antibiotics I can't afford. They wouldn't help the actual pocket, and send me home, and then they would bill me to fucking high heaven. So it's not like I'm just sitting here cavalier with my health. It's like I tried, and like I said, the whole thing about it is getting it to pop. You can't even go to a dentist, by the way. Here we go. First enemy. Oh my god. What a bitch. You dead? Okay, now he's dead. A dentist wouldn't even pop it. You think, oh, you can go to a dentist. Nope. Because a dentist will not operate on you if you have a current abscess, because there's a chance that when they open the mouth up that the infection will spread into there. So if you were to go to a dentist, which I have before when I could get an appointment, they will tell you, okay, pop the abscess, let it drain, then come back to us. So when you have an abscess, there's really nothing you can do but wait it out. That's what I'm saying. I'm not just sitting here because I thought it's fun. If I thought going to the hospital would help, of course I would. But I've literally been through this, and they basically, a dentist, the hospital, just say, hey, take this and wait for it to pop. See, you have to jostle the light. But either light switches you can turn on. So it's like if I fought an enemy here. Oh, dude, don't even. Oh, man. Dude, I have the worst history with teeth being pulled. Holy shit, dude. It turns out I'm actually immune, or I wouldn't say immune. I'm resistant to the typical anesthetic they use. So, I have a tooth right here that they pulled. Bottom tooth. I could feel them drilling into my tooth after they gave me 2 shots of anesthetic. And then, because they couldn't get the tooth out cleanly, they had to take a chainsaw to my mouth, a buzzsaw, like the dental buzzsaw, and pull it out in pieces. That has got to be one of the most horrific things I've ever went through in my entire life. They literally, I was fully awake while they took a fucking saw to my teeth and pulled it out in pieces, and I could feel them sawing into my mouth. Oh, God. Because I apparently am resistant to the anesthetic. That they use in most dentist offices. Like I said, and literally, I could literally look down and see them pulling a piece here, piece here, piece here. They had to pull my tooth out. I'm like, horse drink, yeah. And I could literally see blood flying out of my mouth. Like, it looked like a crime scene. My girlfriend at the time was with me, and she looked faint. I think it's good that I couldn't see what was going on. Because there was so much blood. So much blood. Like, it was like, you know how they put, like, a sheet around you when you go to the dentist? Covered in blood. Because the tooth wouldn't come out cleanly, and there's a lot of nerve and pulp and shit. So, yeah, like, basically like a horror, a horror movie. But see, you can't fight here because there's no light. But you turn on the light by lighting it up with a lighter. So it's an interesting system they have in this game. Yeah, I tell you what, Alex. This game... Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's something that they don't do in Resident Evil, you know what I mean? You use the lighter in the classic Resident Evil games to light stuff on fire. You don't actually hold the lighter, you know what I mean? And you don't have to jostle light. So that's what I'm saying when it's inspired by Resident Evil, but it does its own thing. That's how it should be. It doesn't just come off like a shameless fucking clone. This game actually jump scared me and got me a couple times. I'm normally pretty hard to jump scare, because I played so many horror games, but you come out of this dark hallway, Alex, and you see this knight here? So, the first time you're playing this game, you don't expect that to be here, and you walk there and he's around a corner, and then you whack! That actually made me jump, first time I played this game. And that's what I'm saying. It's the fact that it's dark, you don't see it until you're right up on it, and you round a corner. See what I mean? So by the time you see it, you're probably, if you're like me, you're walking, you know what I mean? You're running, and you're fighting monsters. Whack! And you have to remember that, because it's always there. Thankfully, it's only one of those things that gets you. if you're not careful. Because literally, if you're running at all, it'll miss you. You know what I mean? So as long as you remember it's there, you're good. But it's there to catch you off guard the first time you play. And it did. I literally, oh shit, and jumped. There's some fucked up moments in the games, yeah.
Hey. What happened here?
This damn place can bring out the darkness in our hearts.
God. She's dead. Did you do this?
The law of God does not reach down here anymore. It was either her or me. And now, destiny brought you to me.
What are you talking about?
I'm looking for something. A sacred book hidden deep in this rotten place. Maybe you can help me find it.
I can't help you. I have to find a way to get into the chapel. This crazy cult is after my sister, and the chapel is the last place I saw her.
The chapel of Our Lady. Then, your arrival here must be fate. The chapel door has been locked by an ancient enchantment. It is held shut by the cursed souls of sinners, and the only way you'll get through is to exorcise those ghosts and lift the spell. Now, the procedure is written down in the same sacred text that I seek. The book is hidden somewhere in the depths of this prison. Find it for me, and I'll show you how to open the door.
Oh. Well, that's a coincidence. Okay. I'll bite. I'll get you your book.
Excellent. Now, be careful, or this place will kill you.
See, and that's another area they enhanced it. The first game had laughably bad voice work. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Well, Alex, I would suggest that you play Alien Isolation however you can play it. Mac, Steam, PS4, it's on every modern console. It is hands down one of the best horror games ever made. And I stand by that. Like, without a doubt, one of the best horror games ever made. Alien Isolation is the shit. That game is one of the horror games that has scared me the most. Because, the AI in that game is revolutionary. You remember how I told you? You remember how I told you that, like Nemesis, he could pop up and pursue you in Resident Evil 3? That's kind of like the alien in Alien Isolation, but with the revolutionary AI. Even though the game came out in 2014, yeah, early 2014, it has some of the best AI in gaming ever. The alien learns from what you've done. If you do a certain thing too many times, the alien will start countering it. The alien is really good at tracking you and using shit to sneak up on you and ambush you, and the alien reacts differently every playthrough. The alien does not have fixed AI. And that's what Alien Isolation is so scary, because the alien is genuinely intelligent, really fucking clever, and cannot be predicted. It will pop up in random places per playthrough. It will do random things each time. So you could play Alien Isolation 50 times and run into a different encounter with the Xenomorph every time. And you can't kill it. The only thing you can do is fight back is later on you get a flamethrower. And the flamethrower will get it to run away and buy you some time. That's it. But, however, you do have to deal with human enemies and robot enemies. And the robot enemies are just as creepy, believe it or not. They're called Working Joes. They're these androids, and they have a creepy smile on their face. They're fucking nightmare fuel. They're just as... people are surprised because they're just as scary as the fucking Xenomorph. Because literally, they'll be trying to kill you, and they'll go, tut-tut, stop resisting, and they have this stern British accent, and they smile on their face while they're trying to beat your fucking head in. And then, of course, the other survivors are like, oh, we gotta kill you to take your shit. And so while you're fighting these other two different types of enemies, you have to be careful because you can be fighting a robot and alert the alien. Or you can actually use it to your advantage. You can throw like a noise bomb into a group of survivors and get the Xenomorph to pick them off. It's fucking great. And also, I don't know what they were doing. Man. I'll send you a picture in the Discord, Alex. Even their face looks like nightmare fuel. Like, they're iconic. And people thought, like, okay, the main thing in this game is going to be Xenomorph. No, the androids are super scary. I don't know what they were cooking. They used a custom engine for Alien Isolation. The game came out in early 2014, like I think February, March. So it was a cross-gen 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4. It is one of the prettiest games you'll ever play. It is fucking shocking how good Alien Isolation looks to this day. And on PC with the max settings, it has some of the best lighting you'll ever see. It's really fucking weird. And at the time it came out, it was like, oh my god, this looks good. And now is the time. Now is actually the time to get into it because they finally announced a sequel. They thought that they clearly made the original game for a sequel in mind. And then apparently it didn't sell well for Sega. But now we're getting a sequel, and it's been announced after like 10 years, 12 years, by the same team. And I'm really excited. So now is the time to go in and play the first game. Now there's actually hope of a sequel. Of course, it'll be a couple years. Yeah, no, they're making a sequel. They announced it last year at the Game Awards. They said it's a sequel. They said it will be a few years. It's early in development, so I wouldn't count on it anytime soon. But it's coming from the same team. So now is the time to play the original game now that a sequel is actually coming. Because the game actually ends on a cliffhanger. Because they always intended it to be the start of a series. And it undersold at the time, and now we finally got a sequel. Hammer, stop. Hammer time. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And it's, weirdly enough, dude, it's made by the people... Sometimes it's the people you would least expect to do horror that do horror so well. Alien Isolation, dude. Alien Isolation. Is made by fucking Creative Assembly. The team behind the fucking Total War games. They had never done a horror game before. They had never done a first-person game before. So the fact that they're known for doing strategy games, good strategy games, everyone I've ever heard, you included, it said Total War is great. But the fact that they just came out of nowhere, they had never done any horror games, never done any first-person games, and made one of the best fucking horror games of all time, is insane. Yeah, it's Creative Assembly. And then out of nowhere, the Creative Assembly also did Spartan Total Warrior and Viking Battle for Asgard. Two really, really good hack and slashes. They're like God of War, classic God of War style hack and slashes. They're fucking awesome. So like, they just like keep like knocking it out of the park in these genres they've never tried. Like, okay, you wouldn't think one of the best hack and slash games would be made by fucking the guys who did Total War. But it is. Like, if you ever get the chance to play Viking Battle for Asgard, you should. It's fucking awesome. And then Alien Isolation, so, like, man, they're just, like, I don't know what they're cooking. Like I said, and then they use their own custom engine. Yeah, no, Creative Assembly made them. So it's like, it's just really weird, like, seeing them take, like, a swing at a genre and they've never done before and crush it. Because Battle for Asgard is fucking awesome, dude. You're a Viking, and it's supernatural. You're fighting Hela. And you take back the world from the Vikings. So, like, the world's all fucked up and gloom, you recuperate, and you build up an army. And the combat's brutal, satisfying. It's incredibly bloody. You chop enemies' heads off, rip their arms off. But then it has group battles. Like, you'll get into these big, giant siege battles, and you'll be able to pull out and use the RTS from, like, Total War to issue command through the troop. So it has this really, like, unique setup where it's like a mixture of hack and slash and RTS that you never played before. And then, like, in between that, you're going around an open world and you're saving it and freeing it from Hela. And you can see the world change as you free it. Which is really fucking cool. And they have platforming missions, there's stealth missions, and everything you do builds your army. And that's what's really cool, like, it creates a feedback loop where it's like, oh, I saved these troops. They're trapped. Now they're in my army. Now, then you can physically see those troops in your army. You see what I mean? Like, you go and do a side mission to rescue 20 troops. And now you're going to see your army's permanently bigger. So it's like everything you do, you actually see in the big siege battles. So, like, you really get this feeling of you kicking ass, taking names, and building up your army. Like, everything you do feels like it matters. You physically see that you're building your army up and taking the area back. And you get, like, supernatural powers. Like, you can imbue your weapon with elements. So you can, like, imbue your you have a sword in one hand and an axe in the other. That's the fighting style. And you can use magic and shit. And you get, like, awesome magic as the game progresses. Because they're not, like, strictly realistic either. You get the fucking dragon that you get on your side and can command to destroy buildings. It's phenomenal, dude. And it's on PC, I believe, Steam. It's on PS3. I have a copy of actually Viking Battle for Asgard for PS3. Maybe one of these days I'll stream it because it is a great game. Deserves a lot more affection. And yeah, it's great, like I said. And I think you would like it a lot. Yeah, it goes on sale very often, so. I played it back in the day on 360. And loved it. It was one of those games I rented from Blockbuster because it came out like early 2008. I would also recommend Dark Sector. If you never got a chance to play Dark Sector, Alex, you would love Dark Sector. It's the game that created Warframe. You ever played Warframe? Like the suit of metal armor from Warframe, the Warframes comes from Dark Sector, and it's really fucking good. In fact, actually, if we could set it up so to share Steam accounts, well, not share Steam accounts, but family plan, they have like a include family. I can actually make you part of my family plan, and I own Dark Sector on Steam, and you can play it. It's really fucking good. Oh, okay, there you go, yeah. There you go. Now, see, I'm giving you a pro tip here. Technically speaking, this is the next main path, right here. You use the hammer to break this padlock. But I'm going to backtrack, because now that I have the hammer, I can get the shotgun. And obviously you want the shotgun as soon as possible. Well, if you ever get a chance to play it, Alex, you should. It's set in a Soviet Cold War state, which, once again, you like. There's tons of, like, USSR propaganda and shit. And I know you like the whole Soviet, Cold War kind of stuff. And it has a really, really cool power scale. When the game starts out, you feel like a regular soldier. By the end of the game, you feel like a fucking god. And that's, like, the point. You're supposed to start out weak as fuck. Oh, and also with the lighter, I can backtrack to where I started and get some extra items. Because, see, there was, like, an entire room over here, but I couldn't go back here because of shadow. You can come back here to get some extra stuff. And I mentioned Dark Sector, even though it seems like, why? What does Dark Sector have to do with it? The reason why is because me and my dad used to go to Blockbuster. And we had a game pass at Blockbuster where we could have 2 different games at once. And swap them out. Yeah. So we could keep them as long as we wanted, but we could only have 2 at a time. And we used to live just down the road from Blockbuster, so we would walk up there and get a game, you know, whatever, and get a movie. I think we had a thing where you could have 2 games in one movie. So we were like, oh, what are we going to watch tonight? And I would walk up to Blockbuster. It's a thing. And Dark Sector and Viking Battle for Asgard both came out at the same time, and my dad both got them at the same time for 360, and we played them together at the same time. So for me, even though those games have nothing to do with each other, like they couldn't be more different, I associate both of those games in my memory with them, if that makes sense. See, originally I couldn't go up here because I was blocked out, but with the hammer I can break the pots. I actually have a 360 of Dark Sector to this day. Wait a minute. I might have a PS3 copy of Dark Sector too. I need to check that. So I might wind up playing that. Because it was real fucking lame. They never made it backwards compatible. I kept waiting for them to make it backwards compatible, and they never fucking did. Pissed me off. Most of the time, I feel for the most part they got pretty much all the 360 games you'd want to play, right? Like, Microsoft was pretty good about that. Because, like, I think, yeah. I think if you... I think they said there's 692 games out of 2,000 that are backwards compatible, and that sounds like, oh, that's only a quarter, but the games, that's not counting multiple languages, that's not counting all the Xbox indie games that are shitty, you know, like the really cheap indie games that some dude made in 5 days. Most of the major fucking 360 games that you would want to play are backwards compatible. Halo, Gears of War, all the Fable games, Enslaved, and even a lot of indie games. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Oblivion, Assassin's Creed, all the classic Assassin's Creeds. Before they made the Ezio remaster, you could play 2, Brotherhood and Revelations on Xbox One. Assassin's Creed 1. It's the only modern way to play it now is on Xbox, which is fucking weird. Well, and on PC I'm saying there's no Sony equivalent. Strange. The Darkness 2, all the Splinter Cell games, Knights of the Republic 1, Knights of the Republic 2, Mafia 2, just about any major, 360 game you can think of. Most of them I wanted were there. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean, yeah. So you have to do a puzzle to get this shotgun. And if I'm not mistaken, I still remember the order. Boom, okay, sweet. See, and even the shotgun in this is cobbled together, it's super cool. All the weaponry is improvised, they put it together, and I dig that. Because it makes sense, they're not going to have ready-made guns. You know what I mean? In a fucking Catholic school. But shotgun is your friend. Shotgun is the room clearer. And I technically would have looped back around here earlier, but I would have fought another 5 monsters before I got to the shotgun. So I took an extra trip so I could get the shotgun early. Watch. You saw how many shots it took me to take out one of those fuckers with the nail gun? I just took out 2 with 1 shot. The shotgun is your friend. And if you ever decided to play this game, that's my pro tip to you. Get it as soon as you can. Don't wait. And it only has 1 shot at first. You upgrade it, but it only has 1 shot at first, but it hits like a fucking truck. So that's the thing. The shotgun is like a cannon. In this game, it has incredible range, it hits a wide berth, but you only have 1 shot and you don't get a lot of ammo. So you better make sure you hit. And like I said, you have to reload it manually, so by the time you get done reloading, you're going to get whacked. So, and I actually like that because it's powerful. You have to think about what you're doing when you use it, but you can't just spam it. It's like, okay, you've got 1 shot, it'll clear the room, but you gotta hit. Gotta make that shit count. And also, I really like this game because they expanded the scope. The original game, Alex, took place in a hospital just like this. This is deliberately meant to be evocative of the original game. But this game takes place in a whole town. This is just the first section. This is actually a really long game. You go to a shopping mall, a fishery, so they greatly expanded the scale. A shopping mall, a school, a fishery. And first playthrough of this game is going to take you like 15, 20 hours. Which, for a game like this, is actually really long. And that's another thing they add I really like. You can dodge. Like I said, a first playthrough this 15, 20 hours. So for a game like this, that's very long. The average Resident Evil game of this ilk was like 6 to 8 hours. See, you have to fight 2 of these guys right here to get the key you need. Having the shotgun really makes a difference here. Oh, fuck. Yeah, unless they attack you. But I was able to get rid of them in 1 shot. Like I said, if I had waited until the game wanted me to brought me back around to get the shotgun, I would have fought all those enemies without having that. No thanks. The only thing I don't like about this game, really, in the first game as well, yeah. The only thing I don't like about this game, in the first game as well, is the interface was clearly made for a PC. And you have like a cursor and you have to grab things instead of just like toggling it. I just want to toggle it, even in PC, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of modern console games have done that, and I hate it. You know what I mean? Where instead of just having, like, you flick through the options on the menu, you have a cursor on the menu. I don't like that. Just let me flick through the options. Is that making sense to you? Get what I'm talking about? Where instead of, like, grabbing a fucking... Yeah. Well, a lot of console games have done that. Assassin's Creed... Oh. lot of console games have done that. Assassin's Creed, the modern Assassin's Creed games have all done that. It's annoying, just... And there's a shortcut back down to the basement, which is useful. There's no reason to go back down there right now, but yeah. Fuck you. And the monster designs in this game are pretty creative, which I feel is another important part of the recipe. And yeah, oh, God. Shit. Another thing. Yeah, I told you that a copy of RE9 leaked early. Yeah, people have now entire gameplay, play the entire game, leak the whole game. So I would be really careful, Alex. I've gone totally dark. I'm not looking at, not googling it. I've muted all the evil groups. Yeah. And honestly, I fucking hate people like that. God, those people are such assholes. You know, dude, I can understand, like, trying to get a game early, okay? Because you're excited for the game, you don't want to wait, and you find a street vendor that'll sell it to you. I don't dislike people that do that, because, they're not typically hurting anybody, and it's like, if somebody gave you a chance to play your favorite game a week early, you'd probably take it too. Or a game you were looking forward to. It's the people that, like, then go and post spoilers. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And okay, let me rephrase that. People who just spam spoilers. Because, you know, if people want to see spoilers, fine. But these are the people I'm talking about. They're spamming it. Like, they, you know, like, they're trying to unintentionally ruin it for people. Or intentionally, I'm sorry. Intentionally ruin it for people. Is my point. Where, like, literally, they'll spam posts. Like, people spoiling Hogwarts Legacy, literally posting images of a person dying. So it's not like, well, I can opt out of seeing the spoilers. Like, literally, no, you're going to see that person dead, and it's too late. You've seen the picture. You're already spoiled. It's a major character. That's how they got me. And I will never forgive them for that shit. Like, the people who spam spoilers. That's what pisses me off. Like, they're deliberately trying to ruin it for other people. And it bothers me because, for one, why would you want to ruin it for other people? That's just shitty behavior. And for two, because you're putting your account at fucking risk. I mean, I guess for the average, like, shit poster, okay, but, like, it's literally against the YouTube's terms of service to stream a game before it comes out, unless you, you know, had the developer's permission, which almost never happens. So, like, YouTube can ban you for doing that. Fucking, Capcom can send out a fucking cease and desist and it's legal. Shit. They can send out a fucking cease and desist. And it's legal. Because you're not supposed to play the fucking game. You know what I mean? So, like, you're putting your channel at fucking risk. So it's like you have the opposite of something to gain. You wouldn't catch me doing that shit. And what's worse is, like, it's one thing when it's like a copy leaks on a street vendor, you know, because there's a lot of copy game markets that'll sell it, they don't fucking care. It's entirely different when it's like somebody who, like, an advanced pre-release copy. There's been a bunch of people who got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, like they were previewers that spoiled it. And oh, that is the dumbest fucking shit ever. And, okay, and that hits me. That hits me because that's my goal, is to get early copies of games, like, from the publishers, developers, legitimately. That's, I mean, that's the goal. That would be amazing. Imagine if I could get all the big games and not have to pay for them. Oh my god, be living in heaven. Like, if I could get to that level of influence, I'd be fucking made. But, okay, with a game from a street vendor, it's an unknown person, and Capcom can't possibly track that down, or anybody, and not just Capcom. They can't track it down. So you can get away with it, you know what I mean? When it comes to, like, pre-release codes, they keep lists of that shit. They know who they send them out to, and you have to sign a fucking NDA. It's like, they're gonna know. Like, it's different than, like, oh, we randomly don't know which vendor. You know, like we randomly don't know which vendor broke the street date. They do know all the people they gave codes to. And it's usually a small list of maybe 1,000 people, okay? So, doing that is so fucking stupid because they're gonna find out it's you. Even if you think you're anonymous, they're gonna find out it's you. And best case scenario, you're going to burn bridges with that publisher and not get free copies of their games. And maybe even any other publisher, because you might just get blacklisted from the whole industry. Nobody wants to have their games be leaked. So now you went from having free games to no free games. For what? A couple of clicks? And two, if you're really unlucky, they can sue you. Now, most of the time, they're not going to go to that effort to sue you because, well, it's a lot of work for a minimal thing, and you're probably not going to have a lot of money anyway. Okay? But it can happen, and they might just decide you're the person they're going to make a fucking example out of. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the test case. So it's like, repeatedly we've seen game people who get an early copy from NDA leak a game, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that's just bad for you, dog. And like, what, you're gonna get a couple of clicks from people who want to see spoilers? That's not worth it, man. It's funny too because Nintendo, Kotaku currently has like a weird rivalry with Nintendo that I think is hilarious. Kotaku is shit anyway. I think they're actually one of the worst game journalist sites on the internet, which is saying something. I think most games journalists suck dick, but they're probably the worst. But they did the unimaginably fucking stupid thing of directly telling people how to pirate a game. They were given Kotaku, despite being fucking shit, was still respected as a reputable game reviewer by the mainstream game companies. They got early copies. When Metroid Dread came out, back in 2023, 2022, somewhere around there, they fucking told people how to pirate the game and where to go to get it. They directly linked to sites to pirate it. I cannot begin to express to you, Alex, how fucking stupid it was to do that. And Nintendo actually wound up sending them a cease and desist and threatened to sue them. I think they basically I think they talked out of it because Nintendo said, fuck it, it won't be worth it. But they were permanently been blacklisted from Nintendo for doing that. Yeah, no, yeah. They do not get any Nintendo games anymore. They don't get invited to Nintendo events. So, like, there's quite a bit of Nintendo events they don't get invited to. And they're salty about it. And they keep attacking Nintendo. And it's like, I think it's funny. Because it's like, what do you mean you're salty about it? You did this! You have nobody to blame but you! Who thought it was a good idea? Who thought it was a fucking good idea to post how to pirate a freshly released game right after it came out? And would have told you that was a bad idea. Anybody would tell you that's a bad idea. Are you fucking kidding me? Even general YouTubers, you don't tell people where they can get the ROMs. The one ROM site that you can mention is My Abandonware, because those games... Oh, no, for sure. I'm on Nintendo's side. I agree with you, Alex. I would have blacklisted them, too. And I'll get back to that in a second, because its situation's even funnier, believe it or not. The one site that I can mention ROM-wise is My Abandonware. Those games are illegally abandoned, okay? Any other fucking ROM site for any other thing, I would never mention on stream because it can get me in trouble. You can talk about emulating. You can say, I emulated this. Emulation is fine. But you can get banned for telling people where to find ROM sites. Okay, that's for YouTubers. So fucking YouTubers know that shit. And like I said, they weren't just telling people to pirate it, which already would be dubious and would already piss off Nintendo. They were linking to the fucking sites. Like, what? And what's hilarious, and what I meant when I said it gets even funnier, in that article, they were talking about we haven't had a proper new 2D Metroid since 2002. So like 20 years, because they did Zero Mission, but that was a remake of Metroid 1. Really good, but it was a remake. And then they did in like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, they did a fucking remake of Metroid 2 for the 3DS, which is also really good. But it had been since 2002 that we got a new 2D Metroid. A brand new one. So, in that article, Kotaku's like, well, I hope we get more 2D Metroids. And it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're just saying that we haven't had a new 2D Metroid in like 20 years. You're saying that you hope that we get more 2D Metroids, and then you're telling people how to pirate the game on the week of launch. You're literally doing something that if enough people took you up on it, it literally would make sure that we don't get any more. You can't make that shit up, man. Thankfully, Nintendo got them to take that article down. They literally sent them a DMCA, which they fucking should have. And this game sold well. It sold 5-6 million copies, which for Switch is not like all amazing, but it was good for Metroid, and it was considered a financial success. Oh, fuck yeah, that's right. Okay, let's back to the staircase. So, thankfully, they didn't fuck with that. But I'm saying, literally, what they did, a major review site linking to a pirate area, telling people where to get the game, could have actually hurt the game. And you know me, Alex. You know me. You know how I feel about when it comes to the Sail in the Seven Seas. Okay? If it's an old game where there's not even really a legal way to buy it, then there's no moral qualms in emulating it. You're not hurting the developer, they wouldn't see any money from it anyway, and you're not going to be fleeced. Okay? So if you're like, I want to emulate an NES game, okay, it's like 30 years old, Nintendo's not going to see a cut of that profit anyway, you shouldn't have to pay outrageous prices. That's fine. You should never feel bad for that. Emulating a game that is freshly released, that is available on modern platform, remember Switch is like the most popular platform in terms of raw sales, that's different. That directly takes money from Nintendo. That directly hurts their bottom line. And on launch week, where launch week is like usually the most important time, so it's just a no-no. And like it's funny because they've kept doing that, and they've had a snarky relationship with Nintendo ever since. They were telling people they should pirate Tears of the Kingdom. I'm like, okay, you just keep digging that hole deeper. You never want to work with Nintendo ever again. Gotcha. Ever? Oh, fuck off. Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say, fuck. Oh my god, you asshole. I wouldn't even say pirates. I would say emulators were ethical emulators. Pirates has like a dirty connotation to it. But yeah, I get what you mean. And also, you know, I can say that I actually spend quite a bit of money on supporting games legitimately. I put my money where my mouth is. You know how many old games I bought legitimately? You know how many countless original Xbox, original GameCube, original PS2 games I own of vintage hardware? I own probably over 100 PS2 games, Alex. Like 50 original Xbox games. So I supported old platforms. And, and on top of which, I support older games that have legitimate ways to play them. So, when I emulate a game, typically speaking, it's super old, and there's no valid way to buy it legally. So, me emulating a 30-year-old Nintendo game isn't going to hurt Nintendo's bottom line. And it's avoiding me getting hurt by pirates that want to charge me 15 times what it should be charged. Okay, let me see. I need to... They want to fucking fleece me. But I support actual games. Yeah. Exactly. I'm just saying what I was trying to say, Alex. Oh, hey, I missed ammo. Oh, no, it's a tape. Oh, that's cool. I'm saying I was just trying to point out that I'm not full of shit. You know what I mean? That's not just talk. Like, I'm not just saying, ooh, this. Like, I've done it. I've lived it. I bought a good chunk of old games. I've rebought a good chunk of old games. I have a ton of PS1 and PS2 games I legitimately bought on PS2. or I'm sorry, PS3, I'm sorry, and the PSN, when they made PS1 and PS2 classics available, I bought a shit ton of them, legitimately. Yeah. So I'm not just sitting here saying, and then I just do it anyway, you know what I mean? Like, I've supported gaming, I've supported old gaming, I bought them legitimately when there was a legal way to buy them on modern platforms. Yeah, you know, that's funny. You just reminded me of a story, core memory unlocked, Alex. My sister, I don't talk about her a lot. We have a complicated relationship. We're estranged, but we used to be real close. She's my twin sister. And one time she was like trying to insult me, and she was like, I don't know why, but I brought up hardcore gamers. I think we were talking about Animal Crossing, and I said that Animal Crossing was more for casual gamers, and I wasn't even saying that to be mean to her. I genuinely feel like Animal Crossing is more for casual gamers. There's nothing like, I'm not even trying to be mean. I genuinely think that it's for more casual players. And I have no problem with Animal Crossing. But she's like, well, what? She's like, you talk about hardcore gamers? She's like, you're not a hardcore gamer. And my dad and like my mom were there, and they looked at her like, what? And it was funny because I didn't have to say anything. Like, they thought it was so ridiculous. You know, and my dad had my back, and he's like, okay. He's like, you can say a lot of things about Karen, but it's like, you can't say that he's not a hardcore gamer. And like, I'm not even doing it justice, but it was the expression. Like, the look on my dad's and mom's face, like, what? Because, I mean, like, if there's one thing you could say, I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm not in this casually. I mean, like, I feel like anyone who knows me can tell you that I'm a hardcore gamer, man. Dude, I've had people that, you know, and I'm not even trying to flex right now. I'm just, like, telling the truth. I've had people literally say they're hardcore gamers, and I've talked to them and they're like, God damn, you're more hardcore than me. Not like it was a competition or anything. But you know what I mean?
The door to the Lady Chapel is sealed by what looks like some magic spell.
Because I've almost never met somebody that can talk about games like I can talk about games. I have an almost encyclopedic knowledge of games, old and new. And I'm not even saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that legitimately. I've never met somebody that can talk about games like I can.
I can't get in. I met a strange old man who says he can help me if I find some book for him. It gives me a bad feeling, though. I don't think I trust him. But if there's even a chance he'll help me get that door open, I have to try.
And I think that's one of the main things that helps my streams, actually. Because I can talk about the games in a way they can't. You know, you see a lot of those streamers like PewDiePie, which I love. I like PewDiePie, don't get me wrong. All these modern streamers, they like the games. They don't get the games like I do. They can't tell you who made it, why, where it came from, the engine, the history behind it. Like, give you a detailed analysis of the fucking lore while they're playing. Most of their stuff is like surface level reactions, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, you don't see a whole lot of streamers that can sit here and break it down for you like I do and tell you the whole history and lore while I'm still playing the fucking game. Yeah. So, for me, I think that's to my benefit when it comes to games, because if there's millions of streamers, millions of people trying to stream, and you have to stand out. I think that's one of the things that makes me stand out. That I can talk games like nobody is business. In all fairness, I have an encyclopedic knowledge for most things. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my particular brand of autism. Well, honestly, in all fairness, it probably is my particular brand of autism. but I have I had an encyclopedic knowledge for just about everything. It's I just retain information really well. I always have. I could chew your ear off about history and break it down for you about history, about movies I like. It's just games are my main passion in life, so that's obviously what I know the most of because it's what I do the most of. But like I said, it's not just games. I've always been really good at retaining information, and I have done my part to. I'm trying to figure out the way to put it, to hone that. Because I think, you know, talent is one thing, but you need to have raw skill to get anywhere. Like, you can be naturally great at basketball, but if you want to be like Michael Jordan, it's also dedication, obsession. Like, just, well, I'm listing Michael Jordan, but you get what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't think Michael Jordan would have been as good as he is, or Kobe Bryant, if they hadn't been training their fucking asses off. And I sharpen my skills because I'm reading up on stuff all the time. Like, a lot of the time, you know, I'll get on Facebook and stuff like that, I'll watch YouTube, but a lot of the time, Alex, I will sit there and research stuff on my phone. Like, I'll have a couple minutes, and I'll Wikipedia something. So, I will hear a term. I'll hear a term I've never heard before, and be like, what is that? And I'll Google it, and read up on it. Or sometimes I'll even play a game that's like 6 degrees of Wikipedia, I guess I call it. You could call it. Where I will start reading a random topic on Wikipedia. And then I'll follow a link from that to another topic. From that to another topic. So I can learn about stuff I would never see otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, follow a chain from this. And people are like, man, you know a lot of random shit. I'm like, yeah, because I'm constantly reading up on shit. So I have a natural talent for retaining information, but I work on that talent every day by sitting there reading up and learning more. I'm constantly reading up on things and trying to learn more and hone that talent. Yeah, hold on, there's a... It's easy to get lost in this game. So, you know, and I make lists. I make lists on my phone about games to remember them. I will have lists on my phone. I have a notepad, and I'll write, here's every main game in the series and what year they came out. So I can remember and making lists. Not even just the act of reading it, but the act of making the list helps sear it in my brain because I just sit there and write that shit down. Where I will take every event in a game's timeline. Like, I literally, right now, can tell you the year that every Metal Gear game is set. Metal Gear Solid 3, 1964. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Portable Ops, 1970. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, 1974. Ground Zeroes, 1975. Phantom Pain, 1984. Metal Gear 1, 1995. Metal Gear 2, 1999. Metal Gear Solid, 2005. Metal Gear Solid 2, 2007 for the tanker, 2009 for the plant. Metal Gear Solid 4, 2014. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, undisclosed couple of years after. So I'm going to say like 2018 in the Metal Gear universe, because they don't tell you what year they don't tell you what year it's set in, to my knowledge, but they do tell you it's after 4, a couple years after 4. So I'm going to say 2018. So literally, I can literally tell you, yeah, I need to bring that back. My video game autism. As I'm saying, I can tell you off the top of my head, because I sat there and trained. I wrote that shit down. I need to get more people in the Discord, honestly. The Discord now is a fucking ghost town. And it makes me sad. We didn't have the biggest Discord, but at one point we had a Discord that had a fairly active community. And the fact that now there's almost nothing there honestly makes me kind of sad. But at the same time, I understand why it became like that, why it got like that, because fucking people like Rhea that were fake friends. True. Yeah, I keep hoping to run into people who like Resident Evil. I'm one of the only people in the group I know of. You like it tangentially, but it's not, I tried making friends in some RE groups on Facebook, but I ran into some real fucking weirdos. When I say weirdo, I mean in the bad way, like, you're fucking insane, get away from me, kind of shindig. Okay, hold on, there's a specific way to do this, I'm trying to remember. But in all fairness, I could be getting more out there. That's on me to a certain extent. If I want to add more people to the group, I will. Right now, I'm still dealing with this abscess and keeping a watch on it, so I haven't doing much of that. But once I get this popped and I start to feel completely better, I'll get more into that. Because I don't just invite anybody, you know what I mean? I have to talk to somebody, and I have to vet them. I mean, obviously, you don't know somebody, you don't know their detailed past, but before I invite somebody to the Discord, I need to at least talk to them for a little bit and make sure they're okay just to be around in general, not, fucking psycho. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, you never know somebody, but at least talk to them and kind of see if they're on the up and up before I invite them to the Discord, and that takes time. Because I'm not just looking just to have numbers, I'm looking to have people that are cool. So, I've got to personally, before I added a lot of people to the Discord, because I would go into Facebook groups and I would post looking for friends. Genuinely, like some people scam people. I would genuinely, hey, if you like this, friend me, and then I would talk to them, and then if I liked them, I would invite them to the group. And I added a lot of cool people that way from different fan groups. But now, I haven't really felt up to it. I've had a lot on my mind lately, as I'm sure you know, the last couple of months have really been killing me. And so I haven't been on Facebook much, but now I really feel the need to because, well, I mean, there's like 6 people in the Discord now. Although, at the end of the day, I'm not upset about what happened. Like, the fact... I'm upset that there's... Okay. Hold on a second, I'm gonna force myself to cough, OCD thing. I had to cough 10 times. Just don't want you to think I'm sitting there... I'm fine, it's just like an OCD tick. I am sad that we have so few people, but I'm not sad as to why, because honestly, if Rhea and people like her were going to be like that, then fuck them. I don't want them around. Like, I do not want somebody in the group who's going to sit there and be a buzzkill and lecture people on their fucking SJW soapbox, for one, and tell people what they should think. And 2, I don't want somebody in the group that's going to be a fucking snake and literally go and talk to the woman they believe falsely accused me of rape. And like I said, that was the end. That was the end for me and Rhea. I felt bad about how things ended between us. I even talked to you about it, that, I think maybe I was too harsh on her. She'd just been really combative, and I got pissy, and I lost my temper. But up until then, I thought, well, maybe I was too tough on her, and hopefully we'll fix things out. Like, you talked to me about it, and I was like, hey, we'll work things out. Like, I was open to talking to her. And I even felt guilty about how things ended. Like, oh, did I go too far? And I was asking you about it because I need your opinion. But the second she slid into her DMs, or tried to, it became totally different. Totally fucking different. Oh, that's right, hold on. Yeah, you have to do a puzzle solution for this, I forgot. I have to look this up because it requires detailed knowledge of chess. I'm not good with chess. Like, that changed everything. Like, I understand having a conversation with somebody and you get upset and you say things you don't mean. I said that thing about her second cock, and I shouldn't have. I agree. I was upset. I lost my temper. That was not the right time to do that. And furthermore, it was not conductive to the conversation. I had just been kind of biting my tongue for so long, and that last thing about Nintendo kind of made me lose my shit, but I shouldn't have done that. I should have been calmer about it, and I should have talked to her in the DMs. So I was wrong for losing my temper and doing that. I could have handled that better. So up until then, I could say, well, you know, maybe Ria's having a bad time. She's been super combative. Maybe she's going through it, you know, because it's true. Maybe she's going through some stuff. I don't know. She deals with shit. You know, maybe she's been pissy and she's been taking it out on me. She shouldn't be, but I can be understanding of that. Sometimes you're pissy and you hurt people and you don't mean to. I'm sure you've had a bad day and took it out on somebody that didn't deserve it. Like, not mean to. Like, some of that anger spilled onto a target. And you're like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I was mean to you as well. I didn't mean to be. I have, plenty of times. So, like, as much as her being combative upset me, it wouldn't have ended our friendship. I would say, oh, she had a rough patch, and then as long as she stopped, we'd be fine. And even her SJW shit wouldn't have ended the friendship, because I believe in agreeing to disagree. I mean, she would have had to have stopped attacking me and ranting at me in a public stream. That's unacceptable, to ambush your friend. But once again, I could have moved past that. And I probably, if I had taken another week or so, I would have went back to her, and we probably would have hashed things out and hopefully been okay. All of that is stuff that I can live with. You know, you have a bad day, you take it out on somebody you don't mean to. It's not easy to be your friend sometimes. I'm sure I've been overly pissy with you before, and I'm sorry. You've caught me in a bad day, and I've been overly prickly, and for that, I apologize. And even the SJW stuff, it's like, okay, as long as we can agree to disagree, and you stop jumping me, we're fine. Going to the fucking DMs of a woman that falsely accused me 2 days after we stopped talking, fuck you. You're dead to me. That was unforgivable. Before, I could say, well, we had an argument, we blew up, we got heated, but, you know, sometimes two bros, they get heated. What she did with her, that's a fucking betrayal. That's being untrustworthy. That's being a fucking snake. And if your reaction to having a blow up with me is to immediately go to somebody that hurt me tremendously and saddle up to them 2 days later, you are not the person I want you to have around, and you are not somebody I can trust. And what's crazy is Ria said that somebody falsely accused her of harassing them. So Ria knows that pain. If Ria wasn't lying about that, and I don't think she was, but honestly, I guess I don't know Ria like I thought I did. But let's say she wasn't lying. She should know what it feels like to be falsely fucking accused. So how awful would it be for somebody that said they were her friend to talk to somebody like that? What the fuck? And you know, even if me and Ria had a falling out, which we did, even if me and Ria were at each other's throats, because it didn't get that bad, I never would have went to the woman that falsely accused Ria and saddled up to her in an effort to hurt her. I never would have done that. In fact, I would never do that to just about anybody. Like, say you piss me off, Alex, and say we stop being friends, which would suck, but say we stop being friends. I would not go to your fucking enemy and get close to them to try and hurt you. Even if it wasn't something as grievous as accusing you of SA. Even if it's just somebody you really disliked. I wouldn't go and saddle up to somebody you dislike just because, oh, I have it out with Alex, so let's saddle up to his enemy. His op, as the kids say. That's fucked up. So, I'm sad that the group is diminished, but I'm not sad why, because I would rather have nobody in the group than people like that. And the only one I'm really sad about is Shinobi. I figured that was going to happen because he was really close to Rhea. But he was a good guy, and I never personally had any problems with him. And I would have continued being his friend. I hoped that wouldn't happen. I knew it was a possibility. But yeah, that's the only person I feel guilty about. Because he was a really solid dude. He was always kind to me. And I had no beef with him personally. And he could have come back to the group, and I would have been cool with him. I wouldn't have talked about Rhea in his presence. Because I'm not one of those people like, oh, you're friends with this guy I don't like? Well, fuck you. Unless somebody did something grievous, like I said. Like, yeah. So, Shinobi could have come back to the group and we would have been chill. We wouldn't have mentioned Rhea around him. But obviously, he's been friends with Rhea for years. I get it. But yeah, that's the only thing that feels unfortunate because he was a good guy and I like to have him around. And I wish it hadn't turned out that way. But other than that, I have no qualms with kicking Rhea out of the group. I have no qualms with getting rid of other people. And there was another dude that I kicked from the group, Cosmo, and I don't regret that either. He was a piece of shit. And I haven't talked about that. Basically, Cosmo was gay. I don't care that Cosmo was gay. Cosmo would flirt with me. I don't care that Cosmo would flirt with me, as long as you keep to a certain level, okay? Like, at a certain point, I'm uncomfortable, but if you make light flirtation with me, I don't give a fuck. I'm secure in my sexuality, that it doesn't bother me. I've had gay friends. I will have gay friends. I don't fucking care. Okay? But the whole time that, like, Cosmo was, like, coming in my streams and, like, hitting on me and shit, I was posting about my aunt dying and all the stuff that was happening in January, and he didn't have a single thing to say about that despite being in the Discord, but he could just come and hit on me. Fuck you. So, you know, like, you being gay doesn't bother me. You hitting on me occasionally, as long as you keep it to a certain level, doesn't bother me at all. You continuing to only hit on me while, you continue to hit on me and claiming to be my friend while I'm talking about my aunt being murdered, my aunt dying, and you have nothing to say about that, but you'll hit on me? Fuck you. Do you see what I mean? Where he was in the Discord, I tagged everybody in the Discord about all that stuff happening, you know, to give them updates. And he saw all of that, didn't respond, but he could come in my stream and hit on me. And at a certain point, it became clear to me that he just wanted to fuck me. So, I don't need fake friends, dude. And I don't need a grief counselor. I don't need a grief counselor, like somebody there. But, you know, the fact that, like, he would sit there and hit on me and say, oh, you look good, or oh, you look like that, but then he wouldn't say, hey, I'm sorry your aunt died, really kind of tells me the person that he was. Like I said, him being gay doesn't bother me. Him hitting on me doesn't bother me. Him literally only caring about me being attractive and not caring about any of the stuff that I was going through while saying he's my friend, no. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I didn't even mention it because I don't think you ever interacted with him. So it's not like you were close. Okay. That's why I haven't brought it up. But I'm just mentioning he's one of the people I missed in case you looked, because he was in the group and then he's not. Okay, that needs to be a horse. Yeah, that's another thing that bothered me. Don't just come to post your fucking shit, man. Okay? I make a channel so that people can promote their stuff, which, by the way, is a lot more than most Discords do for people. Most Discords say fuck you in your promotion, okay? So I think I'm being cool. I think I'm being cool by allowing people to promote their shit. Okay, but when all you do to come into the group is just promote your shit, then I start to have a problem. Then we're not a soapbox for you to advertise. You know? That's like, while you're in here, we want to support people who are in here. People help each other. Bros help bros. Kind of shit. So... But, like, if all you're doing is posting about your shit, then it just comes across like you don't really care and you're just kind of using people. There we go, that's what I was missing. Okay. I forgot about that. I thought you had to use the key somewhere. I forgot you had to open the key itself. That's my bad. I haven't finished this, but I played the first big chunk of it. I just got away from it, not because it was bad, but, I got away. Now I'm determined to finish and start over. So I played the first, like, quarter of the game. Sometimes you just get away from a game, but it had been so long, I said, fuck it, I'm just going to restart it. Even I own the server, obviously. I have a YouTube, obviously. I don't even tag everybody in all of my streams. You see, like, when you actually look at, like, the tags line, like, hey, I'm live, I do that shit sparingly. Okay? And I'm the fucking person that owns the server. So, if, like, I'm a YouTuber, I do it sparingly, you shouldn't be doing it all the time. And I shouldn't need to tell somebody that. It's just general fucking etiquette, man. Shit, yeah. Some of these puzzles in this game are really intense. I had to use a guide for a lot of them. And it also kind of gets on my fucking nerves. Like, people like fucking Steph. Like, he would say, oh, nobody told me. There are some things that you should just know. You know what I mean? Like when fucking Max's granddad died. And he was like, That's funny. That's funny, but that's not even what I'm talking about, Alex. As funny as that is, I love this camera angle. You look down, you hear the well, and you can see him framed in the silhouette of the camera. It's a really cool way to do it. But yeah, I'm not even talking about that as much as I like to talk about that. I'm talking about like when Max's granddad died, and he was just like, "Oh, that's crazy." Oh, there we go. Oh, he said, "Damn. That's crazy. I hope you alright though." I was dumbstruck by the reaction of that. And I told him, dude, like, that is so inappropriate. That is such an inappropriate reaction to somebody's fucking granddad dying. And you consoling them. And he's like, well, I didn't know. I'm like, what? I shouldn't have to tell you that that's a shitty thing to say. Even Emily defended him. And he's like, well, he's a kid. Okay, he was 15. Okay, I don't know about you, Alex, but at 15, maybe the kids are different now. At 15, when I was 15, I would know better than to say that to somebody who told me their granddad had just died. And then Steph's like, well, I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry for your loss? Like, nobody's asking you to write a fucking thesis or a poem. Just not say something fucking dumb. Oh, fuck, I died. Oh my god, I don't know how much progress I lost so much. Oh, fuck. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, like, there are certain things I should not have to tell you. You saying that to somebody whose granddad has just died, you should be self-evident, you fucking dunce. Right? Like, seriously, Alex, if a friend of yours told you that their grandparent died, I'm sure you would know not to say something like that, right? Like, say, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, I don't need you to be like a grief counselor, man. Like, that was just some fucking stupid. You were stupid for saying that. And yeah, I didn't say anything about it at the time in the group because I didn't want to make it about me. I knew that if I attacked Steph, that it would turn into an argument, and so at the time I just like left it. Came back to it later, but looking back, that was when I stopped really liking Steph. That's when I legitimately, yeah. That was when I stopped liking Steph. Looking back, I forgave a lot of his mistakes, and I thought, oh, he's young, oh, he's 15, oh, he's had issues, but I remember distinctly thinking, you were old enough to fucking know better. You were old enough to fucking know better. Why would you say something like that? And thinking if he's that dumb when it comes to his friends, and yeah. And it actually changed the way I saw him, that he would be that callous and that fucking stupid. Like, there's making mistakes. There's making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And then there's being a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't making a mistake. That was being a fucking idiot. All right, dude. I'm gonna switch games. This pissed me off. I lost progress. I'm gonna probably restart it and run through it. But I'm gonna switch games. I'm either gonna do Avatar. I'm gonna start over Avatar Frontiers of Pandora because I think it's a great game and they added a lot of cool stuff in a patch. It's been a while since I got into it. I think you might like it as well. Or I'm gonna do The Last Faith, depending on which one you want to see. Either or, I'm gonna start with The Last Faith. Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'll just start up Avatar, and you can join me at least for the start of Avatar, and then go to bed. I just wanted you to see the start of Avatar. I think you might actually really like it. I didn't even like Avatar, and I like it a lot. But I'll be back.